Hey, y'all. Mika wants to say hey. Come here. Come here. This is Mika Mocha. Say hi. Hi. Yes, he wears a bow tie. He always has his whole life. Okay. Hey, y'all. So Pointe Shoe Elastic. And I don't have like it helps me if I write stuff down and have a list, but I didn't do that. So hopefully this is not just rambling. Okay. So if you have the 1/2 inch elastic, and you can just get out tape and measure it, that's typically for ballet shoes. And what is much more supportive with pointe shoes would be like a 3/4 or a 7/8 or even sometimes a 1 inch. So they have different styles. Okay, now Bloch has this kind, and this is like a mesh elastic. So inside here, it'll be like this. This is covert elastic Bloch. This is $6 on Amazon. I'll put the link. You get about 31 inches, and you can see it's like little elastic strands, and there's like fishing line running horizontal. And this is great for like for performance. It hides it so it doesn't look like you have like all this stuff bound around your ankle to keep your shoe on. This one's pretty supportive. I have this one on these Bloch Alphas. Alpha has a 3/4 shank. Bloch has like 40 different kinds of pointe shoes or so. So Aspiration, what a lot of you are in, is just one of the many kinds. So yeah, this kind is pretty good. I would say like get the 7/8 or get the 3/4. This 1/2 inch ballet elastic, it's just not really the most supportive. And I think you'll feel better and more supported with this. And I do really recommend doing the crisscross. So if you get that pack like this, it's $6, and you get enough for crisscross. So what you would do, it'll come like this, and you would cut it in half, and then you would cut it in half again, and you can see you still have a good amount. And so this way you can start it here at the arch. Like sometimes I do it right where the ribbon is, and sometimes I might want it just a little bit in front of where the ribbon, like a little bit more towards the toe. And same thing as I showed you in the ribbon video, like I will just stitch it right along the stitching. Now, a lot of professional dancers, for going fast, you'll make like a circular stitch, same thing. And so you would have it pulling up here at the arch and then crisscross, and make sure it's at a good angle. Now with this kind of mesh, sometimes it rubs even more so than the old school elastic, like this kind, and I'll show you that in a sec. Sometimes it's just a little more rough. Gainer Mendon also makes this kind, but it feels a little more soft. So theirs is a little softer than Bloch of this mesh stuff. If it's rubbing here, you can put it on the outside. So you can have, like, put it on the inside of the arch, and then when you crisscross it, you could have it right here on the outside to keep the heel on as you crisscross. And like a lot of people will stitch it right here and make a circular stitch. So that would be like going in underneath. And y'all, sewing is not all that hard. It's literally you don't have to be perfect about it. It's a really good thing for you guys to learn, especially if you're gonna keep doing pointe. Like my mom was like, if you're doing pointe, you gotta sew it yourself. Like I think she helped me with the very first pair, but then after that pair, it was like, okay, you're on your own. But it's really not all that hard to do. It's really, really not all that hard to do. It's like just taking dental floss and winding it through both pieces to connect them. And a lot of people like tie a knot to start right here and then go through. Like I leave a tail, and then when I come back, I tie the tails together. Like that's what for me makes a really strong hold. You can do it professional seamstress way or whatever, however you want. But okay, so there's that kind of elastic. This is like either 3/4 of an inch or 7/8. I'm not sure, but that's like a good supportive size. The kind that a lot of independent suppliers give you, this little 1/2 inch piece, it's not the best. It's just not the best. It's like okay. And then, okay, so this is the kind I grew up using. It's just the more regular. I just ordered some of this. It hasn't arrived yet. I'm gonna put this on these are Bloch Axiom shoes, and they are more of a low profile. So they're like my foot, because my foot's a pretty low profile foot. Whereas the Alphas, I squished them down, like I've broken them in stepping on them, but they're naturally more of a high crown, of a high profile, like taller, which I think the Aspirations are a little bit more like the Alphas. But Axiom fits me better because it's already like flat and low. And my gainers are like this too because they're sleek. The gainer kind of like the low profile is called sleek. The benefit of this is it's a little stronger than this is. If you have trouble getting onto your box, which means your foot, like here's the floor. I guess you can see the floor in this. Let me tilt this if I will. Okay, there we go. So if you're like struggling to get onto your box here, like this will, because it's not quite as supportive, it can allow you to get up onto your box a little bit easier. If you tend to go over your box, which is like more a thing I have, like where my foot is not just going to like a point here, I'm starting to go like, whoa, like go forward here, which like that can be called knuckling. Like if your toes are bending right here. So like you need a little more support because you're going like super arch, then it's great to have this kind of old school elastic because it's more supportive. It's going to help pull you back. Yeah, so you don't want to be dancing here. You want to be right on top. You also don't want to be dancing here in the case of like a dead shoe where it's just, you know, where it's just like bending like crazy. So you could also do one strip of elastic. Like these I did just behind my ribbons and not even back at the heel. And this honestly, for this pair, these are old Prima softs, they're dead. But for this pair, it worked like pretty well. And again, it's like the 3/4 inch and not the ballet shoe elastic. So yeah, it really depends on what works for you. But same thing with this. If it is like rubbing, if you need it all the way back at your heel, like if your heel's falling off and you need it all the way back here, you can stitch it on the outside. I would recommend stitching it on the inside, like that, like this, like so. But I would recommend stitching it on the inside of the arch. But then you can stitch it to the outside. You just don't want to have like a tag, like especially, it's really just for like performing, you know, you don't want like, what's that thing sticking out of her ankle? You know, like you could stitch it to the outside and then just cut it short. I usually burn like the ends of everything, like even elastics, like ribbons. I usually just take a lighter and burn the ends of like everything. So what else do I need to tell you? Ribbons, more ribbons. So Bloch has, did I bring it down here? This, yes. So Bloch also has this pack of ribbons. So if your ribbons that you put on your shoes are too short and they're not meeting around to tie properly, Bloch has this little pack. It's also like $6, maybe $6.50. And this is the kind that has the little piece of elastic. Let me grab one here. Celia, where did you go? Okay. It has this little piece of elastic in it. And it will have a short side. These are pre-cut, so you'll get 4 like this. And it has a short side and a long side. And I start by putting the short side underneath. So I find the short side, put it underneath my foot, and then measure up. You want to make sure that it can, here, let me, should have done this a bit ago. You want to make sure that it, you know, like you might have some here to like cut off, and you could even reinforce and stitch it down even more if you want. I just cut it off and burn it right there. But you want to make sure that you have enough, like from the inside, you're coming up, not the best angle, y'all, sorry. You're coming up and you're going around and you're coming back to here. Okay, so I come up, I don't just go half of a, like almost a full circle. I make a full circle. This is from the inside, full circle, and then back to here. And then let me grab a different shoe that has more ribbons already. Dun, 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 dun. So here's crisscross. I don't have a toe pad. I usually wear a small toe pad in here, so it's a little more roomy than normal. So I'm gonna come up. And you can see here, it doesn't really pull on here, this elastic. Can you even see it? It's so see-through. There we go. But yeah, if your heel's falling off, you might want it back further. But then if it's rubbing, especially this mesh kind at your Achilles, then you might want to put it either on the outside or move it in a little bit. So I'm gonna come up. You wanna make sure you have enough ribbon for this. All the way around and back. And then on the outside, you come up, come across, more than just meeting here. You want to come all the way, they meet together. You want to have enough ribbon to tie a good square knot just over and over, and then you'll have enough to tuck it in. I like to have enough personally to not just tuck it in but wrap it around and tuck it in again, and then I would snip it off like right there. And then for a show, we're gonna hairspray it really good so it stays in place. So I would measure it a few times before you cut it because you don't wanna then have to do it the whole shebang all over again. Okay, so now, like with these are a higher profile shoe. So for me, if I was like I'm trying to make a higher profile shoe work for me, because I know this is like your first pair, you're trying things out. It might not be the most optimal fit for you at this time. So I might add like a little bit of cushioning. This is just like some kind of Lowe's or Home Depot foam stuff that my brother had. And like it can take up a little bit of space because you want your shoe to fit like a glove. There should not be any like gaps or anything. You want it to fit like a glove. But yeah, this is just like weather strip or something. And you can find out what works for you cushion wise. The little jelly toe things that they make, like those didn't work for me. This is the Leo slightly thicker toe pad, and for these shoes it does well. I have some thinner ones that I wear like with my gainers, but this is a higher profile shoe, and so like for me to make it work, yeah, it's having to take up a little more space. But you don't even want to really be able to get your finger in there easy. Like it should be kind of tight, and you want to pull the drawstring tight too, so you're not like seeing any gaps when I'm up here. So you want it snug all the way around. There's no gaps or anything. And then you want this to be very supportive through here. So it's pulling my shoe into me, and these alphas are weird. They only have 3/4 shank, but it's pulling the shoe into my arch, into me, and it's going with my foot. And it's not like the shoe is back here and my foot's arching and the shoe's not connected to it. You want it to be like a fitting glove all the time. Okay, what else do I need to tell you? So there's that. Okay, now if the shoe was a really high profile, these are straight out from a bra. And you could do, like if it was a high profile shoe and you had a low profile foot, you could this is what I did, was I put it in the top here, slide your foot in there. I'm not gonna, but yeah, and then it takes up that top space. You don't want a lot of padding underneath here. You want to be able to feel the floor, and you don't want too much padding at your toes. If your shoe is a little bit too high profile for you, you can put stuff on top, and you can put a little bit on the bottom. These are really paddy. These are really cushiony, the Leo brand. Eurotard makes a silicone. This is Eurotard brand, and this is probably about the thickest. They have feather lights, which is like barely anything, just the tiniest bit. And then you've got like your ouch pouches and stuff from, I think Bunhead makes that. I'm gonna put a lot of links, and I'll try to write what it is with the link. Please get the thicker elastic, will really help. On the bottoms, moleskin or a little piece of leather saves a lot of time instead of darning the top or just beating the top where you're ripping out your shoe. Just moleskin, but don't get that really thick foamy moleskin. Get the thin moleskin, Dr. Scholl's. They have that at the grocery store. The jelly toe things, I think they also carry those at the grocery store now. But yeah, it's just like a little sleeve for your toe. For me, I'm not so crazy about those. But yeah, you can be creative. This is like a shoe insert from the grocery store, and I just cut off part of it. So this would be a great piece of foam for making this. This is Dr. Scholl's memory foam for putting in your shoe, and that could be a really great thing to work for you for if you need a spacer between your toes, or you need a little bit, you need to cushion some part, you can cut it to fit. And this was $3 for this foam thing. Yeah, look in the Dr. Scholl's foot section, if they have a foot section at the grocery store or the drugstore, look at it. You can be creative. It doesn't have to be Pointe shoe brand of something, Sorry, I'm trying to think if I left anything out. This elastic's great. It's stronger. This elastic is also great. It's not quite as supportive. The Gainer Minden elastic, I'll show you, is that mesh, and they also have the thick kind. Now theirs is more like 1 inch. But I feel it's really soft too. So it's it doesn't bother me being on my ankle in the inside. It's really soft. If you have a cut on your foot and it's not getting better, you've tried polysporin or neosporin, whatever, this stuff, and it is like a athlete's foot antifungal thing. Sometimes the truth is that you have gotten a fungal germ on your, a cut on your foot. And it's not because you're gross or anything. It's because you have sweaty feet inside of like this capsule. And so that is a great place for something like a fungal germ to grow. It's not because you're gross, okay? This kind that says tall naphtate, they have all different kinds, but look on the back and get the one that says tall naphtate, TOL, whatever, 1%, tall naphtate 1%. And like, if you have a cut or something, for me, this would heal it up in like 2 days. So you could try that. Now, if that doesn't work, another thing that has worked if I've had a cut and the polysporin didn't work and that stuff didn't work and I tried it, is this clove oil, just clove essential oil, which I don't know, like this is Whole Foods, but I don't know where you get this. Like this is another thing that worked great for me, is just to put some of that, like if I had like it might burn a little bit, but it's helped me a lot too. So those are other things. Okay, now ingrown toenails. Man, I meant to bring my nail clippers. You're going to have to suffice with my pliers. I do not cut my nails with pliers. Pretend like these are ginormous nail clippers, okay? So let me see if I can bend my toe to see. So like if you're getting an ingrown toenail, what you want to do is go at it like where the blade is pointing this way. So the blade would be like that, and clip it a little bit this way, and then come at it this, like here, where the blade is that way. So you're cutting a V, and cut a little V in your toenail, and then they should pull together. In the meantime, if it's an awful ingrown toenail, I take a little bit of this like thicker, nice Bounty paper towel. The cheap kind might just kind of disintegrate, but I take like a nicer paper towel, I put it on the edge, I take some tweezers, and I just push a little bit underneath, like just push it underneath my nail. And that like gives it a cushion and pulls the nail out where it's not jabbing into your foot. And then you just would cut around, you know, just leave it in there, just cut it out. And it should give you some immediate relief, honestly. And then of course, please take the tweezers out, pull it out and change it. You know, don't just like leave old paper towels shoved underneath there, because that could create something bad. But you know, change that out at least every day. But yeah, that should give you some immediate relief. And you could put like a little bit of polysporin on it too or something, you know, if needed. So those are my toenail hacks. Okay, y'all, I think that's about it. Let me know if you have questions. I'm gonna put links to some stuff, and there we go.